Hey everyone, this is my deck intro video. I'm going to be make a little short video here talking about my decks, about like the deck building process, about what the deck does, how to play it, and yeah, I'm currently 13 minutes away from starting the tournament. I'll be posting individual videos about each round, so be sure to check out the videos afterwards after watching this. Check out how my games went. I don't know how they went because they haven't happened yet, but yeah, hoping for the best. Anyways, I'm hyped for this tournament. I've got my swordfish shirt on, and my not what do you call it? The contraband swordfish shirt because it's not real, and I like made it. Yeah, whole other story. Anyways, um, let's talk about my decks. So I'm playing Reality Plus and Lat, and by the time this video's up, I don't know when I'm going to post this video, but I don't know if these decks will be posted on RNDB or not. But if they are, or if they're not, I would imagine people are going to be more interested in the Corp deck than the Runner. But I think the Runner is insanely strong, and that's why I'm going to start with the Runner deck. So here, let me move myself over here. Okay, so my Runner deck. I'm playing Lat. Lat's ability is extremely strong. It's got the... Hang on, let me just make sure that I'm going to move myself over here, just so like my highlights can be seen. So Lat's ability is extremely strong. It draws a card basically every turn if you can match the cards in the Corp's hand. And yeah, it's just a really strong, really consistent ability. You basically have drip in your ID, and no other deck really has that. Adam has card draw off safety first, and that's like, to me, that's like the only comparable thing, but Adam has a couple weaknesses. Yeah, I won't talk too much about other decks. So this deck here is somewhat straightforward. So you're playing boat. You're playing 2 copies of Rigging Up to try to get your boat down as fast as possible. You are basically just have like really insane econ. So namely, that's Rizeki. Get these down as you draw them. Tapworm, also get these down as you draw them, depending on the matchup. So if we're against like some kind of glaciary matchup, or if we find a copy of Into the Depths early and we also have a boat down, or we have a breaker down, which is kind of rare, but we'll probably have a boat down, get Into the Depths, play Into the Depths on a central with a piece of ice, break in, install Tapworm, and then we get a lot of value from the Rizeki, the Tapworm, the pad taps. It's just really annoying for the corpse to deal with economically, because they have to purge, and then I get a bunch of drip off of my other sources of drip like Rizeki and Pad Tap. Slow the corp down, pick up turns, make more money off Rizeki. That's the econ package. You also have the normal normal Shaper stuff of Diesel, Creative Commission, and Sure Gamble. And then you've also got Dirty Laundry and Into the Depths. I have 3 of both. Both really strong cards. You get your boat down, run places, make some money while you're doing it. Other parts of the deck. 1 Beth is very common. 3 Daily Cast is pretty common. 3 Stoneship Chat Rooms. This card is really good because it's boom tech. It's also like card draw tempo tech if you're playing against somebody that's got like oboes and they're trying to tax you on cards. Then you can have 5 cards in your hand, and you can also have Stone Ships installed, so you can draw cards clicklessly. It also just smooths out your draw. You're at 45 cards, but 3 of them are Stone Ship Chat Rooms. So in the matchups where Stone Ship is not a tech card, then you just install it, draw some cards, and it just replaces itself, draws you a new card. So basically, you click for a card, and your deck is like very consistent because you're basically playing 42 cards plus 3 Stone Ships. Again, it's boom tech. So this is the key card to beat combo obs if I run into those, which is a really important thing to have an answer to. And then the breakers are somewhat standard. There's a lot of things you can do with Shaper. So Paperclip, I think, is the standard of barrier breakers. Ika was somewhat of a last minute change. I used to be on Nanotech, but usually this deck doesn't install icebreakers that quickly. So usually the icebreakers will stay in hand. And if you have Nanotech, you don't really want to install it and pay 4 credits if you're not going to use it. So a lot of times Nanotech stays in hand. Corps will install their drafters or their turnpikes or Juas or whatever their sentry is, and they'll put it on a single server. So you end up having to boat it because nanotech has to pump strength and it's kind of inefficient. Ika's more efficient. We don't use our sentry breaker that often in this deck, so that's why Ika makes sense here. You can throw it down onto the board early, get your lat draw, because it costs 0. It can break drafter for 5. You have to move, boost, break. But if you compare that to nanotech costs 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So comparison to nanotech, Ika is generally better. Ika is worse in the case where the corp stacks their sentries, but if the corp knows you have nanotech, they probably don't stack their sentries. And if they know you're on Ika, they will stack their sentries. So yeah, like the corp will just play differently, and both of them aren't ideal. But we don't want to spend influence here because all of our influence is pretty locked down. I'll talk about Stargate in a second. But 2-tap Worm, 3-pad tap is really good, and then you need the Clot to buy yourself an extra turn or two in the fast advance matchups. Hyperbaric has been performing extremely well. This deck used to be on Ngolo for quite a while, and then the efficiency of Hyperbaric is just really good. If you're playing 3 boats and hopefully you can rig it up. Maybe you can't, but if you get your boat down, you can contest things pretty early without Ngolo, and then what Ngolo does later in the game is like you just have to boost it all the time because it's at 2 strength. A lot of code gates are more than 2 strength, so you have to boost it by $2. Initially, when you spend money on the Hyperbaric, it's going to cost you a lot of money. But once you have it boosted, once it's at a relevant strength, the corporals stop installing their code gates. And I've been on the receiving end of this deck because we've tested this deck a lot. And when your opponent has a Hyperbaric up and it already has strength matching the code gate that you're thinking about installing, you're not going to install the code gate. And then finally, Stargate. I used to be on Find the Truth, but Stargate was... we swapped to Stargate to respond to the fast matchups, so that's namely Fast Advance Sports, Fast Advance Ob, and any other deck that's kind of trying to rush out. Stargate is just better. Also, it's a program, so it can get searched for, whereas Find the Truth couldn't get searched for, which was an issue that we had before. And then the other thing is, if we ever go into some like last-minute situations where I'm in trouble, I need to try to win the game, you'd rather have a Stargate than a Find the Truth. So both cards have synergy with Mad Dash, so that's like a personal preference kind of thing. If the Stargate becomes a Find the Truth, the whole deck stays the same and the whole deck still works. Super strong deck, very versatile, very efficient, and I haven't played against any corps really that have been able to put up a good fight against this. Okay, starting in 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes to talk about my corp deck. Here's the corp deck. It's a Reality Plus. It is a prison deck, prison-ish. So it's like an economic prison. So what we're trying to do is we have 3 below and a 3 degree mill. So hard to score our agendas, hard to steal our agendas. And we're going to mulligan every game for Drago Evenov. And we're going to install Drago in a remote behind a piece of ice. Hopefully Funhouse or Mausolus. But if it's something else, that's not ideal. But hopefully we can get a Funhouse or Mausolus on the remote. And we don't really have to protect our centrals too early because our agendas, unless we're against Crim, then we have to. But if we're not against Crim, we don't have to protect our centrals too early because our agendas are really defensive. So we slam a Drago in the remote, and every single turn we will double advance the Drago, give the runner a tag. We will gain our 2 credits back with Reality Plus. And then we have 1 click left to play Tag Punishment. So Tag Punishment package here. We have Backroom Machinations, which is not really Tag Punishment. It's like a win the game card, but they need to be tagged. We have 3 Market Forces, 3 Self-Growth Program, and 1 copy of All-Seeing Eye. And it is a big, big tag package because this deck can stick Drago. And if you want to trash the Drago, you have to run through Funhouse or Mausolus. And in the first 2 turns of the game, nobody's ready to do that. So you got to run and trash Drago. If you trash it, I'm probably going to have another one. If I don't have another one, I'm probably have Archive Memories. So I'm going to Archive Memories the Drago, put the Drago back, and we're going to do this all over again, over and over and over and over and over until you have no money and no cards installed on the board. And then eventually, I will have my money will build up. It'll build up relatively slowly, but every time I play Market Forces, I will gain 3. You'll lose 3. And every time you run through my ice, I'll get money. So my money will build up relatively slowly, but eventually this deck will open up scoring windows for me to score Bologna or Degree Mill, and that's how we win. We find scoring windows, score 2 3-pointers, and then we will get the backroom machinations to get ourselves to the 7th point. There's no boom in here. I think a lot of people will want to add boom, and adding boom will cut some of this influence, and this influence is really important in sticking this Drago plan. So sticking the Drago plan will become less consistent if boom is added in exchange for a potential kill, and a lot of people are teching for boom. So in my lat deck, I'm playing 3 Stone Ship Chart Rooms, and if you like trashing resources, you do have tags. Like you can tag the runner to trash resources, but that costs a click and 2 credits, and a click and 2 credits to trash the thing that they installed for 0 feels pretty bad. Sometimes you can do it, but a lot of the times this deck runs kind of low to the ground. So it's all about like keeping the runner with you, keeping the runner really low. Eventually you'll get ahead, and eventually you'll hopefully be able to score some 3-pointers. That's the deck. We were on 3 Rashidas until 2 days ago. Well, basically until the decklist submission date. I was on 3 Rashidas, and then I cut 2 Rashidas for an NGO and a second attitude adjustment. And attitude adjustments are really important because we're not trying to score early, we're trying to Drago. So if we draw agendas, we need to attitude adjustment them back. Rashida's really good early too, because we can use Rashida to find a Drago, but once Drago is actually found, Rashida actually becomes useless, because you'll just keep installing Dragos, you'll mandatory draw every turn, and you'll basically never want to install Rashida, because if they trash your Drago and you run out of Dragos, you probably have a window to score an agenda. So that's the idea there. And then 1 NGO front, very valuable card in theory, because you can install double advance it, and it's a card in the deck that you can advance that the runner does not want to run. So they might try to run to try to steal Bologna, steal Degree Mill, trash Drago, but the 1 NGO adds a little bit of uncertainty as to, if they know it's in your deck, and they're playing around it. It adds a little bit of uncertainty as to whether or not they should run, because if they do, and it is NGO, then they might have like taken a Funhouse tag, broken through Mausolus and paid a bunch of money, whatever the board state might be. And yeah, that's the time I have for my deck intros. I think I did both decks decent justice. I will say, so big shout outs to Bridgman for this deck. We worked on this in Unbanned together, this Corp deck a lot. Like I've only played this deck in private games. It's been the win rate's not great in private games, but that's because we've been playing it with open deck lists, and every runner knows the deck list. They have an idea of what to do against it, and that's why this deck list hasn't done great in private testing. And again, I've only played this in private testing. I think it should be quite good introducing it to the wild here. So yeah, Bridgman was like his first idea. Drago came out, let's build a prison, and then we built it. He kind of lost faith on it, and then I was working with him on it, and then I picked it back up, rearranged a bunch of the slots, and then here we are. One other thing. I know it's been a couple weeks, and I know that Salvage Venatus Armory was banned within a week, but can we ban Drago, please? Yeah. I don't know how the games are going to go, because again, they have not happened. But I'm really hoping that I do well with this deck, and I'm really hoping that people will realize what happens when the Corp can give tags to the runner in an uninteractive way, because that's what Drago does. It tags the runner. It didn't require interaction. And when your opponent goes and they're up against Reality Plus and they go, you're playing NBN, I don't want to get hard-hitting news. My turn is going to be take a credit, install 2 daily casts. And when your turn is double advance the Drago in the remote and play All-Seeing Eye or play Self-Growth Program to bounce the 2 daily casts, they lose the game on the spot, and that's awful. But there's blowouts like that, but there's like non-blowouts too. Like if runners are relying on resources and they can't set up quickly enough, and I get Drago round turn 1 and I can keep recurring and putting Dragos back in the remote, this deck is a nightmare to play against. It's really mean. The runner will not have credits, not have cards installed. Yeah, I would like to start a petition for a Drago ban. But anyways, tournament hasn't even happened yet, and I'm calling for cards to be banned. So what do I know? Anyways, round 1 is starting. Thanks for watching this, everybody, and hopefully I'll see you in the round 1 video.